Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boomer Buzz channel, a Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host, Terry, and I have come to the realization that some people that watch these episodes, it seems like they just watch until they hear something they disagree with, and then they stop listening and start talking in the comments. But whatever, that's fine. This isn't really in response, more so than it is to make a space for this conversation. Again, as I said in the last episode, that was, more focusing on Mack and the deal that we, had for him. But a lot of people want to focus on one comment because I said that I didn't think we were automatically a top 5 defense. So whatever, that's fine. If you have your opinions, I don't mind that. But, that wasn't the space for it, so I'll make a space here for it. And I've said before, there might be people that are new. It's already documented as far as the expectation video, the first one I did, talking about what I thought about the defense a little more in depth. So I would invite you to go back to listen to that first, because I'm not going to explain it to every person that asks me, well, why would you say that? It's there, it's recorded for a reason. But I will reiterate here pretty quickly, just kind of my thoughts. So first off, again, if you just stop listening, then really there's no conversation to be had. You gotta listen to everything, because I clearly said, and people hear what they want to hear, I clearly said that there's a chance. I didn't say that we can't be this or that. And then also first off, a lot of people arguing with me about our defense without Khalil Mack. It's not super fruitful to do that, because the fact is we do have Khalil Mack. Again, I said my piece about what I thought we were looking like, going into this year before Khalil Mack got here. So yes, I had those thoughts. Now that we had Khalil Mack, the dynamic's a little different. But even still, that's neither here nor there. I will say that this is exactly what I mean with people being surface level. And this is exactly why I don't follow stats. Now, I follow stats, but this isn't why I go crazy over stats. Now, there's people who definitely are more analytical driven. Stats mean everything to them. And I would say, as a football fan, as a coach, as anything, don't ever let numbers lead the conversation. Numbers should inform the conversation, as I always say. Numbers do not tell everything. Numbers can mean a lot of different things depending on the way you play with them. So let's go there first of all. And this is exactly what I mean by that, because this is the logic that everybody's taking. We were a top 10 defense in certain most major categories last year. So by that logic, we're going to be a top 10 defense again, because we got mostly the same players. That's not exactly how it works. That's not exactly how it works. And then we add Khalil Mack, so people are like, well then, okay, by that logic, we added a top player plus first round pick. We're automatically a top 5 defense. That's not how that works. There's factors that go into numbers. And so when you're talking about the actual situation and the factors that go into it, there's questions there. Now, one thing I will say, is that Vic Fangio has done a great job with the Bears so far, at least making us look professional. I say Vic and John Fox. People don't give him credit, but John Fox definitely worked a lot on the defense side with Vic Fangio. But, for the people that put Mel Tucker's defense way back in the distance, just looking at where we came from there, remarkable improvement, being a professional team, being in the right gaps, knowing the coverage assignments for the most part, things of that nature. And so Vic Fangio, with these injuries, has done a really good job of getting the best out of our players. With that being said, no coach is going to be perfect every season. And really, because as a coach, there's only so much you can control. And so there's great coaches that have bad seasons. And just because you had good seasons so far don't mean you can't have a bad season. Like, just in general, people with this absolute mentality, it's not how life works. And so specifically when it comes to sports, it's definitely, if you listen to me, it's never going to be like that for me. It's not black and white. And I don't care about all the views and whatnot. If I only got 5 people that want to engage football on a more, intricate level, then fine, so be it. And then the rest of people don't have to listen to me. But I'm never going to sit here and say, yep, it's that way because it's that way. That's not, we got to look at it deeper than that. And so there's nothing absolute, first of all. So a coach can only extend his influence so far. Talent comes into play in the mix with the coaching ability. And so if you ask me, do I think it's a guarantee that Fangio is going to take a group that I thought wasn't, that didn't progress a whole lot talent wise before the last couple of days and continue to make them top 10? I wouldn't say the chances are high. But again, for me, it's never, yes, it's going to happen. No, it's going to happen. It's more so, let's talk about the pros, the cons, the why it could happen, the why it cannot happen, because that's better, because then you know what to look for. And in the last video, the same thing I said is that the factors of us becoming a top 5 defense rest on a couple players, and I mentioned those players and what they can do. So it's not me saying, no, we're not top 5, no, we're not top 10, no, this isn't I don't talk that way. I'm talking about my observations and what I think could hold us back and what things could propel us forward. So with that being said, Kyle Fuller, we could talk about known people. Kyle Fuller, first off and foremost, encapsulate this perfectly. Like, he had a great year, and that's fine that some people really love him. They're happy he had a good year, happy he got his deal. That's fine, whatever. The point is, he's limited. I don't care. We were top 10, cool. That does not change the fact of what talent we have. That does not change the fact of what skill sets we have. He's limited as a corner, and he's a big press guy. He can be a plus in the run game, but deep ball and like against quick receivers, he's limited, and so is Prince. That's like, yes, that's 2 out of 4 secondary, but that's a huge 2. Bryce Callahan, I feel strong about to compete in the slot. He ain't gonna shut everybody down. He's gonna compete and make it tough. But our starting cornerbacks, that's like a big question mark for me. And then Eddie Jackson, as I said, he's improving, but until we see him play, we don't know if he's going to have the type of dynamic range that's going to change our coverage. And I highly doubt it after what I've seen so far of him. Not to say that he can't be good, but that type of dynamic range to like really put the coverage responsibility on him, that's rare. You don't see that a whole lot. And then on top of that, Adrian Amos, who I think is solid and going to do a lot of good things for us. It calls for him to play a lot more in the D, because we can't play exclusive cover 3 or anything and play with him in the box, because our corners need help. We can't leave them on islands. So, it kind of limits what we can do with Amos there. Leonard Floyd, we got to see if he's A, going to be healthy, and B, again, is he going to take that next step? Now, again, as I said, and even more so with Khalil Mack, that pressure is on him, because now he's got I wouldn't say no attention, but he's got way less attention than he was going to have. So now the pressure's really on him to develop and become a great complement. There's no more excuses for him. And then, of course, we got Akeem Hicks, and then Roquan is going to go either way. I know he's number 8. I evaluate these dudes. I know what he is. You don't have to tell me what he is. The point is, he's a rookie. It can go either way. There's a mental part to this game. And there's like people like look at the combine, look at highlights. It's not just that. There's a lot that goes into it. And so I can't sit here and guarantee what Roquan's going to do. We know what skill set he brings, but to put it together mentally and to go out there and perform and feel comfortable, we just got to wait and see, especially we haven't seen him in the preseason. So, there's plenty of questions to be had. And while Khalil Mack is elite talent, one person doesn't carry the defense. It could change the dynamics of a defense, but they don't carry the defense. And so he can definitely improve everybody in the secondary, make their job easier. He can definitely make Leonard Floyd's job easier. He can do all those things, but he can't carry the defense for us. And no matter, like, I say this all the time when I especially got Coach D-line. I tell my players, I'm like, you know what? If you have 5 sacks in the game, that's a great game right now. Like, yeah. I'm like, well, we watch film. Look how many plays we play. We roughly play around 60 to 75 plays on defense, roughly. And so I'm like, that's 5 plays. You know, what percentage is that? Not saying that you're not having a good game or that's not good, but realize that there's a lot more football than that. So Khalil Mack can't play everything for us. He's going to do a big part, but at the same time, he can't carry this defense. So it's not like, okay, Khalil's here automatically. This is going to happen. There's no automatics. There's no automatics. And if you find yourself on the side of, I think this is going to click, that's going to click, we're going to do it, fine. If you find yourself like, I don't think this might happen, I think we'll improve, but won't be that good, fine. If you're in the middle and you're just waiting to see, fine. I'm not telling you that. It's the people that are like, are you stupid? This is going to happen. Or 1 + 1 = 2. That's not the math. That's not how it works. And this is why people with fantasy football and stats, they get too much into it and don't really understand that, the factors that go into it. So there's a lot of things at play that we got to see. And so while yes, we returned some people, yes, we had some injuries last year, it's not the same season. You got to go out there and see what we can do. And I get it. We progress. It's another year in the defense and all that good stuff. That does not always mean everything. Trust me, it does not always mean what you think it means. And so, while logically you want to think, yes, it's going to lead to an improvement, it could, but the big question was pass rush. Now we got Khalil Mack. And so, I think we're in a great position. And like I said, I never said we can't be top 5, top 3, number 1, whatever. It's going to just depend on some factors. There's nothing automatic. There's good defense. Just fall. Shoot, you even look at, the Vikings. Like logic would tell you, the way the Vikings defense was playing last year, they should do X, Y, Z. They went into the playoff game against the Eagles, and what happened to that? Same players, what happened to that defense? And so, and that's just a microcosm, I'm not picking on them. I'm just saying, like, there's no constant, there's no guarantees. So, there's that. Now, to talk about Khalil Mack a little bit more, I saw somebody saying he's not a generational talent. And look, the way you use vocab is always going to be the way you look at it. I said this with Kevin White and calling him a bust. The way you term it is then, okay, it might be different. People might be saying something different. But with Khalil Mack, and it goes back to the stats, cause he's not generational talent. He's been on bad defenses. Just cause you a great talent doesn't make your defense automatically great. Just because Khalil Mack gets pressure does not make his cornerback in position, does not make his cornerback able to catch the ball on the interception, does not make his linebacker make the right read. Like, he doesn't control that stuff. Nobody controls that stuff. So it's 11 people for a reason. Yes, you can have influence, but you can't carry a defense. That's the point blank period. Now, when you talk about generational talent, and especially for me, you talk about versatility equals value. That's my draft motto. I watched Khalil Mack coming out. Value, I know exactly what. And if you watch the Raiders closely, you've seen him do a lot of things, but even his top talent hasn't been scratched, because one of the things that impressed me the most about Khalil Mack as a prospect was that he had some of the best range and coverage of any of the prospects that year. Any of the prospects I've seen at linebacker in a while. I think the only one with better range and coverage was Miles Jack coming out of UCLA. So you talk about what he's become as an edge rusher, and to think about his ability to play stack backer, not only come down and stop the run, but also play in coverage. Like, that's scary. Like, you're talking about a guy that could be a Pro Bowler at multiple positions, whether a true edge DN, whether a pass rusher or a stack linebacker. That's generational talent. No two ways about it. Yes, we could talk about stats and what he did, blah, blah, but we're talking about actual skill set and what he's able to bring to a football team. And then on top of that, his knowledge of the game and stuff of that nature. So yes, he's absolutely a generational talent. I mean, if you want to call him an elite player, whatever, not that different. The point is, you ain't gonna see Khalil Mack in many drafts. You'll see maybe one or two every decade. And honestly, I can't even find someone I would compare him to. Like, a lot of people talk about Von Miller. While Von Miller has surprised me how good he became, I don't think in a 4-3 true hand in the dirt, I don't think he has the same production that he does now. And I get it. If you haven't been up close, a lot of people are like, that's stupid. Hand in the dirt, standing up, it don't matter. It does matter. Left or right, it matters. Hand up, hand down, it matters to some players. I don't know Khalil Mack personally enough, but I just know with his size is different. Stopping a run in an even front is different than stopping a run in an odd front, because your position is different, your angle is different, and your responsibility is different. So it's just different. And I don't know how well he would be with that. But he could be great. I don't know. But what I know is that I've seen Mac do it, because they switch schemes and I've seen him do both. I've seen him, play stack linebacker a little bit. I definitely don't know if Von Miller could just play stack linebacker. He probably could, but either way, his coverage ability is nothing like Khalil Mack's, at least as far as his range. I won't say his IQ. I don't know between those two, but at least the range. I can't find a player I can compare to Khalil Mack. And so that's when we're talking about generational talent, not so much generational stats or anything. We're talking about what he has as a skill set. And so I've been doing this for years, and there's no player in the league right now that I could put up there with Khalil Mack that can be a Pro Bowl at those three different positions. Maybe, and I mean maybe, Clay Matthews in his prime, cause we did see him move to Mike a little bit, but I don't think he plays as well in the stack as Khalil Mack could. So anyway, so yes, that's that. So that's fine. If you want to disagree, cool, do it here. This is the space for you to disagree about the Bears defense. This is where you can tell me they were top 10 last year, even though I know that, and then tell me that Khalil Mack plus top 10 equals top 5. Go ahead, comment section. Go to the comment section, let me know. I'm trying to make sure I'm not forgetting on, think so. So go to comment section, share it around, thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear down.